Today, I'm going to talk about the best destinations for a second passport. Second passports are becoming very, very popular with our clients over at PrivacyX when we help people become ghosts, but also just in general. They can also be tricky, they can be confusing. We work with a lot of people, we have a lot of inside information at PrivacyX because this is literally what we do. But I wanted to go over a base list. Now, before I go over this list, there's one caveat I want to say, and that is these are great places for a second passport. Would I personally move to any of these places? No, I would not. Does that mean any of these places are bad places? No, actually they're not. There's some really good places on this list. But I want to be clear, I did a list of my favorite countries that I would move to if I was an expat. Now I'm not, and I don't plan to be brutally honest with you, but if I was an expat, I've already done this video about countries that I recommend, my favorite countries and destinations, and there's some really, really good ones on there. But in this list, I'm gonna break down some second passport information. So let's get into Operation Second Passport. First one we're gonna talk about is Vanuatu. Vanuatu. Okay. So this has actually become a more popular destination in recent years. Now, it takes about 4 months. When you're doing second passports, they want you to have some level of involvement in the country, add value to the country, which is a great option because a lot of these countries are returning on investments multiples of times over places like the US and Canada, certainly Europe, and Australia and all these other countries. So that's one added benefit from the financial side. Now, do your own financial research, obviously, but that is one good option for your second passport, Vanuatu. Now, Montenegro has been a popular option, and it's probably the one option on this list that I personally would not do. Now, you do have to contribute a non-refundable 100,000 euros just to go through this process. They have different organizations and you can tie into the government community. Personally, Montenegro is really, really popular, which is why it's on this list, but I have heard probably more issues, delays, and just all-out failures from Montenegro than any other place on this list. So I do want to be fair. Does it work? Yes. Can you do it? Yes. Do I personally advise it here at PrivacyX? No, you won't see it on my personal top 10 list, but I don't want to cherry pick. I want to give you guys the information of the most popular destinations, and maybe there's something in Montenegro for you, whereas Vanuatu is a very popular family destination. Montenegro is more of a hiding place for a lot of people, it seems, and I think that the exploits are part of the problem with that. And that might be one of the biggest issues. So you need to keep that in mind when you're going through this process. St. Lucia, well, popular option. Now, the government bond, which is $250,000, some do real estate, some do bonding options. This is another one that's very popular and works very well, especially if you're doing offshore banking or if you're structuring your business offshore. This is a very, very good option for some people. And a lot of people tend to like it just as an investment opportunity long-term. Now, these three are the bottom three on the list. These are the three that I personally would not do, but they do have benefit and I wouldn't gloss over them. If you are doing research, they are good places to look at. But the next four I'm going to talk to you about are the four that I would do, and I'm going to tell you the one that I did do at the end. Okay? So let's break into Antigua Barbados. So you can receive your passport within 3 to 4 months, and you need 200,000 investment in real estate. Antigua is very popular. It's a very good destination, and it's almost a destination that I went with. Reason being, you have a lot of options when it comes to getting a second passport with global entry. Now, you might be thinking if you're in Europe, any of the countries in Europe for the most part, certainly Western Europe, if you're in Canada or you're in the United States, you already have a pretty solid passport, right? You do. So why would you need a second passport? Well, multitude of different reasons. I've talked about this in a lot of videos, giving government control, and we've given government control of so many aspects of our lives that they're able to shut things down. Having a second passport gives you ease of travel. Also, as of now, there is no actual world government, which is great. There's a lot of organizations, but there's no real world government. So there is no push button where they can just shut your life down on a global scale. In fact, it's a nightmare. Even here in the United States, city governments, state governments, federal governments, there is no central database. Even places like the FBI or the Central Intelligence Agency need help from outside organizations all the time. While they are getting better and better, and it is getting closer and closer to that old Minority Report, it's nowhere near where they show in like movies and fiction, which is a good thing that you can play off. So second passports become really, really important. Now, it is a quick application process. It is an easy application process. It is one of the lesser intrusive application processes, in my opinion, but it is the fourth place on this list. Grenada. Now, Grenada is an interesting option. You can get Grenada second passport by investing in the real estate or the government bond. And the main Grenada passport offers global entry, visa-free travel to tons of different destinations, which is really good. It gives you a lot of powerful options, which I strongly recommend to a lot of people. Look up this option. Next one is the Dominica. Now, you can attain by investing in real estate or buying shares in a resort for give or take around $200,000. The cool thing is a lot of the fees or the amounts of money you're potentially investing have gone down a lot the last couple of years, and I'm hearing a lot of people who are able to work the system a little bit, find real estate that's a little bit less, but still have the ability to get it in, because this has been a growth industry. And so like all competitive things, keep in mind that these destinations are competing for you to come to their country as opposed to another country, because it adds value to them. Also keep in mind that when you're investing directly in real estate, there's a lot of value in that because, well, you're buying the real estate. Do I recommend ever doing this through the government bond system? Personally, I do not. The real estate is going to give you a growth option. Investing in their bonds or their currency is an option, but there's really no stable currencies that I would recommend investing in, especially with the way currencies have been going the last couple of decades. Really since 1971, even the gold standard is gone, so not really highly recommended. So the real estate option is much better in my opinion. The next option, and the one that I recommend the most, the one that I personally have done, is Nevis St. Kitts. Now this is incredibly popular. To obtain a Nevis St. Kitts passport, you need to invest about $150,000, although they've changed it a lot as far as property, and also they work on resorts and other commercial investments. And what a lot of people are doing in all these locations is working on investment packages for larger properties. So people getting together and investing in different properties, because you can invest in shares of properties at a lot of these. And that is becoming a very popular option for second passports as well, is people investing together or people investing in groups of real estate packages. Basically, you know how mortgages are packaged and then real estates are packaged for investing firms. So a building could be broke up in condos, but it could be broke up even further where you have multiple people buying specific pieces of said building or condo, etc. So that's why some of them are starting to accept what you'd classify as shares, right? Because if you have a building that has 100 condos, and then you could say each condo is worth 5 shares, and then if you buy a portion of that, or if each condo is worth 1 share and you buy 1 or 2 or 3, depending upon the price, is what you need for the passport. So it gives a lot more flexibility and a lot more options. Plus, when you're looking at mortgages and other things, it gives you a lot of benefits from the investing side. But that's a separate topic. Really, we're looking at the passport side. So Nevis St. Kitts has been a very popular option, a very popular destination. In fact, a book that I love and that I recommend all of you read is this book right here, Emergency, by, who is it by? Neil Strauss, who is actually a very talented writer. This book, Emergency, I've read a couple times. Now, there are some information in this book that is slightly outdated, and his process of doing what he did is kind of rudimentary. It's maybe 3% of what we do in my Ghost program. But the reason I recommend you read the book is not to follow his steps, but more to relate with his mindset, like I did. So even though it's not like a step-by-step playbook, and some of the stuff he does in there, he does a little off. In fact, after he wrote the book, he consulted with one of my colleagues who has a similar program to mine, but he focuses more on offshore investing and, you know, kind of went to another level. I've heard rumors that he might do an updated version, but I don't know, Neil Strauss. Anyway, I recommend this book, Emergency. It is a really good read. I'll leave a link to that down below. Also, you can check out the Ghost program down below. These are my picks. What are your picks? Do you have other countries that you think are good for second passports? Keep in mind, this is second passport, not necessarily expat and best place to live. That is a different list, like I talked about, and we've done a video on that. Appreciate you guys checking out this video. Have an amazing day. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Putting out new content all the time here on Privacy X. Go all into everything you do, guys. Understand that you need to take back your privacy. Your privacy is your freedom, your future, your family's future. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.